The newspaper headlines this morning, we're bringing our in-house review. Chris Maduka. Good morning, Chris, and welcome.
Good morning, Belinda. Good morning, Charles.
How are you doing this morning?
Well, I'm going to be better, but thank God for life. It's Hamatan morning, Christmas is in the air. And I've heard you saying in the spirit of Christmas. Are you in the spirit already, Charles?
No, actually. I'm not. I mean, you can always be in the spirit when you have money to spend. But when there are actually no
You
money to
don't
spend,
need to look like what you're going through.
It sounds familiar. I don't know what you mean. We have pretended for too long. If it's not there, it's not there. There's no need to pretend. If there's no money, there's no money. And I can't stop saying hardship and hunger. It's gotten to a peak. But we have some good news coming from the federal government. They keep telling us the reform is yielding result. So
Yeah.
let's move.
the reform is yielding results, especially the fact that the so-called tax waiver for import duties is going to kick off in January, especially for drugs. I was so shocked that the things you buy in terms of drugs, the malaria drugs, of course, that you buy, you think that, I mean, it's cheap some few years back. It's no longer cheap anymore. There's virtually everything, specifically drugs, because I know food, you can also say that, look, removal of fuel subsidy is affecting it because they have to transport these things using the road and all of those things. But drugs in itself is one issue that is very important, just as important as food is. That's how drug is.
You can't be more right, Charles. And these are part of the review of the reform. In the first place, all the pharmaceutical companies in Nigeria left the shores of Nigeria and moved over to other countries for production, for whatever reason, for economic reason, for operational reasons, for whatever, for ease of business. And Nigeria, did not blink. They didn't consider it an important thing. And when the whole thing came down on us, the worst thing that can happen to a Nigerian at this time is to fall sick. The cost, it used to be, when I was growing up in Nigeria, you can treat malaria with 25 kobo. All you need is 10 tablets of chloroquine. For whatever reason, we went to ACT, the combined therapy, and then at the point it was 500 naira. But I bet you, nowhere in Nigeria can you treat malaria with less than 30,000 naira now. And then think about it, is it a hospital? Is it so? And malaria is the most common sickness in Nigeria. Of course, it comes with everything we suffer. Most of the symptoms of all things we go in Nigeria comes with feverishness and malaria. So everybody, but that's it. So this is a very clear evidence of what we are facing in Nigeria. So when we say hardship and hunger, it's not just about hunger. The hardship angle of it is the health.
Yeah.
You are hungry, you can't treat malaria, you can't treat even headache. There is a pain reliever, the what they call it, analgesics they sell. There used to be the one of 15 naira. Now, in every pharmaceutical shop, the cheapest you find is about 700 naira, 1,000 to treat headache. So a family of 4 that have 1,000 naira for meal and somebody is having headache, they resort to all manner of things. People are dying. People are dying. A manner of self-help, that's why even we find that most people do not go to all those orthodox areas for treatment. So it's part of the problem we're facing. So it's good news that the government has talked about the budget, and budget is on. That we still see that security is receiving the highest share and come down to find where the health is.
Exactly.
But the federal government, for the reason best known, at the point they are always saying, at the point they are thinking, the view of what's happening in Nigeria is clearer. So they're seeing better. But what we at the receiving end is waiting for is let this thing have a positive bearing on our lives. When we see that, go. But we pray for more prosperous, more successful 2025. Because 2024 is a year for every Nigerian to remember. And it's not over until it's over. So I see a lot of churches always planning the billboards of crossover. It's like, if you cross over to 2025, you really mean you were a resilient Nigerian who survived. There is this Oni's ex-wife orders first probe, 32 children feared death in Ibadan.
Yeah.
And some of the government officials have started making some sensitive statements. And this is crisis management. As a communication expert, I know that crisis management is first of all to acknowledge that this happened. Then make proper apologies. And then go back to look at what happened before you come out to say anybody who is involved will do this, will do, make sure, all those kind of things. If you look at the little I know about this story, some people wanted to give what they call the usual Nigerian language, to give palliative to children. And they planned that each child that comes will receive 5,000 naira. And the story went around. And you know, Ibadan is the largest, when it comes to population and even land mass, city in the world. And you know, this is a city that survives on its own with the street children and a lot of things that people do not record about, because Ibadan has a way of sustaining itself. And then in this time of hunger and hardship, imagine when a parent hears that, my child, if you go to that place, you might come back home with 5,000 naira. And 5,000 naira are valued much in this economy. And that's it. So these people that are trying to do the devil came to work there, people should understand it, that they didn't invite the children to kill them. So the government must handle it with extra care, so that it will not bring up double emotional trauma and physical trauma. The organizers are already suffering. They already arrested. They're thinking about palliative, gathering money from philanthropy and all this to give to children so that they feel happy at Christmas. And it ends this way. The devil has come for Christmas. And everybody must look at it that way. It's not. I'm not here to speak for the organizers, but I know that this kind of thing can happen to any humanitarian-minded Nigerian who is trying to help. If the Makinde government, that he has started making some sensitive statement, has thought about Christmas party for the children where he's going to dole out 5,000 naira, he will have mobile security men and more of how to organize it. But these are private individuals, so it's unfortunate, and God will see them through. Because I'm sure they did not invite the children to kill them. It was Stampede. And children can behave, it's that kind of unorganized and uncontrolled situation. They are not adults. Even adults have had to stampede themselves to death when it comes to sharing palliatives. So you can imagine children. But this is what Nigerian government also look at. That the hardship and hunger has driven Nigerians to the point of chop or die, or chop and die, or hook or crook. Even the children have imbibed such things, and this is what it ended up.
It's really sad.
The 18 Edo LG chairman fought suspension by Opebolo. And the other probe. I'm seeing confusion. And I wonder why the AGF, the federal government as the big brother, they won at the Supreme Court that LG autonomy should come to stay. I wonder why they sit quietly watching this confusion going on. As far as I'm concerned, my understanding, I'm befaulted by the lawyers and the people who know about the Constitution of Nigeria very well and the politics of Nigeria and how to implement it. But the autonomy of local government gives the same autonomy to the states. So no autonomy is bigger than another. It might be the state that where you have local government inside you. But you have a federal government, a federation where the state is inside. And the federal government has not killed all the states when they're talking about the autonomy and they want to, through federalism. But it's the money involvement that's making some of these governors behave like they are cows and beasts. They don't want to look at any element of sensibleness in what is being done. Leave the local government with their money, because they are the people that will account for it. Over the time, somebody said over 20, how many trillion naira cannot be accounted for. Since this madness of transition committee chairman started, every governor will want to use them. Now that the federal government has woken up and said, let these people breathe and do their own thing, run their own affairs, because development gets to the people from the local government point. They're still sitting on it. I bet them, if they use their mallet to kill ants of this local government, most of the thing will bring a lot of Waterloo, or some of these governors. They don't know what they're into. They better stay away, because they've overreached themselves with local government suppression over time. And now that the time has come for us to develop and move further, and some of them are still holding on and holding on there, they will die holding on to this. I bet them. And they will make or mar them. In most cases, I see them marring them, because you can't chop the state budget. It's not enough for you. You want to chop. Definitely, chopping everything is not enough. Now they want to say, at least have a limit of what you chop. They still want to chop everything. They say, no man climbs a opaka tree and want to pluck everything opaka tree produce that will come down from where he climbed it. Opaka trees will produce opaka, the oil bean tree. Even hanging at the tail of the leaves. So a greedy man will want to go and pluck opaka tree with all the products. He will not come down through the trunk. He will come down the other way and he will fall down from the tree. That's especially my proverb for them. No man who in his greed, or in whatever he thinks, want to pluck down everything that opaka tree produce, will come down from where he climbed it. This is a proverb of bone and silence for all you governors who does not want Nigeria to go forward. They want us to go back to the years of locusts, where you chop army, I chop, Ilia army, Ilia, I don't know, Ilia army, Ilia Isiafia, Ilia Ulu. They chop profit, they chop capital, they chop everything. There should be a limit to where you look to. Only oversee your local state budget and leave local government to account for their own.
Really sad. I mean, now that you mentioned it, I mean, one would have thought that the Supreme Court's judgment would give some sort of restrictions to what the state government does with the local government. I mean, I'm shocked that the State House of Assembly could go ahead and suspend local government.
Are you counting on them? Are you counting on the present state houses of assembly people we have? And one of the people that look at them with, I don't know one, because it will sound as if they have not proven themselves worthy of those positions they are holding. They are just appellation, I don't want to call it, they're just attachments. They can't look at the truth and objectively and say, Oga Governor, we have gone with you for too long on this, but at this time, let us do for once. Let our no go down and then go down in history as people who are sat in this honorable assembly to pass a law that will be sustained over life instead of running around in circle. Governor will talk. All the House members of assembly will do yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. Nobody will stand and say, sir, with due respect, I differ. That's democracy. And all of you, yeah. Where is that? Where are the nays? You must not say nay because you must say it. Say it with constructiveness. But it's so annoying that you mean all these things are happening. It's all yeah. Why the population of Nigeria, 200 million Nigerians, say no, and you are representing them? Woe betide some of you, because I don't understand this. Have they come back to the constituency? I belong to a constituency. No member of the House of Assembly that represents my constituency has ever come to say, we want to talk about this. Let's have town hall meeting. They just be writing. You don't even see them. They go there and be doing yeah. Who are they representing? And then you are asking me. Some people sat down and approved the suspension of local government people.
But they have given autonomy to.
We're giving autonomy and we elected. The Western way we elected you. Wow. And you're not looking at it another way. Why are you? You want them to come and account for you. Are they are no more under you. They're no more accountable to you. If there are some oversight function of want to see what they are doing, there must be a way to go about it. And then we're still looking at the federal government to come up with policies that will actually streamline this. But these people that are fighting the last fight, losers in every reform will fight till death. The state government are losers in this local government autonomy thing, and all the people that have their eyes on it are losers, and that's why they're fighting this reform. It's a new reform. In every reform, losers will fight dirty. That's why Obebolo did not see any other thing to do. And if he had played his politics very well, the whole of this local government chairman will even find himself, he will use them for a better thing for himself, instead of going at par with them.
Right.
So, Badaji, what else? Nothing. Inflation to slide to 15% next year. Now that our time is up, we should be rounding up at this place.
Right. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much,
Maduka.
Chris, for your time.
All right, so want to say a very big thank you to Chris Maduka for his insights on the show this morning. Many thanks once again, Chris.
Thank you, John.
I appreciate you.
Thank you, John.
Earlier, I had spoken to Dr. Okelu Ogunta, it's the former Commissioner for Budget in Enugu State, and he's also an economic and financial expert on the presentation of the 2025 budget to the National Assembly by the President. Here's how that conversation went.